G'day and welcome to another video. In today's lesson we will learn how to make this granny square blanket. It is very easy to do. I will show you how to make the granny square from the start, but if you know how to make a granny square, you're going to need 16 granny squares in total. You can adjust the size of the blanket by putting more rows onto your granny square. I have 4 rows of the blue and then 1 of the white. And then we use the half double crochet stitch to go around the outside, and then we join our creation together. So I hope you enjoy the video. So let's get started on the lesson. First of all, we want to make 16 granny squares in total. So grab your colours. You'll need 4 shades of the one colour and the white, which is going to be the main colour of our Afghan. So let's get started on the first row. So I'm grabbing my lightest colour that I have, and we can start with a magic ring, or we can chain 4 and join. So to make a magic ring, we just wrap the yarn around our fingers, grab the loop there, still holding on to the loop, putting your hook through the loop, pulling up. I like to chain 1 just to secure that off. And we need 3 chains all together. So we've got 1, so that's 2 and 3. Yarning over, working 2 double crochets into the loop, so into the center of the loop there. Going to work 2 double crochets. Chain 1, work 3 double crochets into the center of the loops, that's yarning over, going into the middle. We want to work 3 of those. Chain 1. 3 more double crochets into the center of the loop. Chain 1. And altogether we need 4 lots of 3 double crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3. Working the 4th one. So that's 3 double crochets into the middle. Chain 1. Then we can pull in the center there. If you've worked your chain 4, you won't need to do that. And then we're going to join to the top of the chain 3. So what that means is that the top of the chain 3 is up here at the top. So going into the chain stitch and then working a slip stitch to join. I'm just pulling on the back of that again to make that center close up more. And that is the first row, or I should say first round, of our granny square. If you're using the same colour, you're going to slip stitch across. What we do is we slip stitch into the next 2 stitches and then into the chain 1 space. We cut our yarn and then pull that out, and that will pull our yarn out, and then we join our new colour in here. But I'm going to finish off this colour. I'm not going to continue on. So what I need to do is cut my yarn and then secure my yarn off like that. We're going to sew in our tails, or we can do it at the end. I'll show you on the first one. To sew your tails in, you're going to find your needle. So threading your needle, turning it over to the back. I like to try and thread my yarn through underneath the stitches down there. So I'm going to work my yarn down to there and then just go underneath these stitches. Don't pull too tight, otherwise it will go out of shape. and working under these stitches like that. You want to work your way all the way around. And you can sew in the whole tail if you like to, but I like to sew in at least an inch. That's the minimum I would sew in, is an inch. Because you do not want it to come undone. Snip off your end. There we go. Pull that one tight, and then you can sew this one in too. I'll just do that. So there we go, we've got a little centre, and that doesn't use much yarn at all. So next you're going to grab your next colour, which will be your next darkest colour. If you're going to work it like the square I've got, you can use any colour you like, of course. We're going to go into there. So we're joining in a chain 1 space, which is in the corner here. Now if you've made a granny square before, you may do a chain 2 in the corner. I find with my loose tension that chain 1 in the corner is enough for me. But if I work a chain 1, a chain 1 is enough for me, but if I make a chain 2 it becomes too loose. So we've all got different ways of making granny squares. This is the way I do mine. So chaining 3, pulling down on the back thread, make sure that's secure. We're going to work 2 double crochets into that chain 1 space. Chain 1, three double crochets into that chain 1 space. And that is our first corner. The chain 1 is the corner, like that. So we've got to work 4 corners on this because it's only small at the beginning, and that's how many we need to work for the second row. So 4 corners. So yarning over, finding the next chain 1 space, which is here. Work 3 double crochets. We're going to chain 1. What I like to do is, I find when I crochet that all my crochet work is over on this side of the corner, so I like to just pull down on this bit here, and I'm grabbing this bit just to make a little space there so that I can fit the other 3 stitches in. So it's 3 more double crochets. That's just a habit that I've got into. I always do that on the corner. So working over to the next one over here, working another corner, which is 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets. So you can see it's making a square now. Over on the next chain 1 space, which is here, work 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets. I like to move them over just a little bit. They won't move too far, but so that's 3 of those. And then we're joining to the top of the chain 3. So remember that the top's up here. So we're joining into there. And what you'll find is if your granny square is sitting like a bowl and is not sitting flat, that means you may need to add chain 2 in the corners, on all the corners. Okay? Or you could use a bigger crochet hook, but mine will actually sit flat. And this is the way I do mine, so I know it's going to stay flat. But if it's the first time you're making it and it's starting to look nothing like a flat square, more like a bowl, you might need to put chain 2 in your corners. Okay, So that's just a little tip if your square's not laying flat. So we're going to change colour, so we're going to cut our yarn. And pull through. I'm going to sew my ends in at the end, because that's how I roll. So now we're going to join our next colour. So if you were using the same colour, you slip stitch into those 2 stitches and into the chain 1 space, and then we will continue on with what we're doing now. So we need to grab the next colour. This is my next colour. Lay it on the hook, pull through, chain 1 to secure. So it's 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I'm just going to grab some yarn. And we're working 2 double crochets into the chain 1 space. Chain 1. So that's where you would do your chain 2 if you need to. But I'm just going to be using a chain 1. So it's 3 double crochets into the corner. And all the corners are worked exactly the same. Apart from that first one, you do your chain 3. But you're still at the 3 stitches, chain 1 and then 3 stitches. But now, because we're on the next row, we've got a gap here. And there's one there, and one there. And on each row around, you're going to get one more gap. So this has only got 1 gap, so what we need to do is work 3 double crochets into the space. So actually going right into that hole there, working 3 double crochets. Chain, oh, sorry, not the chain 1 yet, is it? Getting too excited. So into the next corner space, so it's a chain 1 space there, 3 double crochets, now we work our chain, and 3 double crochets. So I just pull it over a little smidge. Now we have another hold here, so we're going to work into that space. Yeah, put the hook right in the hole like that. Work 3 double crochets. Up to our corner over here, so we're working a corner. So it's 3 double crochets, chain 1, and then 3 double crochets. We've got another gap here, so we're going to work into here. I'm sure you've got it by the now, because we've just worked, this is our 3rd side. We've got our next corner, so work that one. Chain 1, then 3 more. And we've got 1 more space, so work that one. And we're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. It's looking good, isn't it? It's getting bigger. Mine's laying flat. We're going to change colour again. There's lots of sewing in ends when you change colour, but I think it looks really good when we change colour. And you can have so many different combinations as well. So looking good so far. Next colour. Now for me, this is my darkest colour because we've got 4 shades of the blue. So you can join in any chain 1 space around. You could even start in the middle of the row, but I personally prefer to start in the corner. And I've also seen people work this part of the corner first, so do 3 stitches, then go around and then add the last set of 3 and then chain 1 and join. So there's all different ways you can do it, but this is how I do mine. Whatever works for you, I say. So chain 3, 2 double crochets, because that chain 3 counts as our first stitch. Chain 1, 3 double crochets. Now remember how I said you'll have an extra space on the straight section? We've got one here and then one there, so you'll have 2 on this row, the next row you'll have 3, next row you'll have 4, and so on. So I'll show you how to do this. You probably already know what to do, but I'll just show you anyway. Into the space, work 3 stitches, into the next space, work another 3 stitches. Ugh. Into the corner, work your corner. So it's 3 stitches, chain 1, and then 3 stitches. And we're going to repeat this all the way around, working 3 double crochets in each space and then working our corner on our corner. And I will meet up to you when we get back around there. So I've worked my square all the way around, and what we're going to do, we're going to join into the top of the chain 3. And you've probably already done that, so because it's pretty easy to pick it up once you know what you're doing. Okay, so you can work as many rows as you like. You can just keep going, and each row you work around, you'll get 1 more space in between. So see on that row we've got 3, there's 1, 2, 3, and we had 2 on our previous row. So I have my 4 rounds. I've sewn in most of my ends at the back there. We're going to join in our white colour. So you know how to join it in because you've already done a few rows, so we're just going to start off our row. So we need to add, so it's chain 3, so that's 2 chains, that's 3. Work 2 double crochets into the corner. Chain 1 and 3 double crochets. Into the next space we're going to work 3 double crochets, and each space around until we get to the corner. I should say each space across, shouldn't I? So that's, whoops, ooh. 3 double crochets, and into our corner space we're working our corner. And I want you to complete this row until we get back to the other end. Let's chain 1, and then we can start adding borders and joining our squares together. Woohoo! Alrighty, so keep going and I'll meet you back at the beginning of this round. After we've completed our round, I've joined the round, obviously. I've sewn in my starting tail. This one we can leave, like we don't have to sew it in because we can crochet over it. Woohoo! It's one less tail to sew in. So what we want to do now is, what I did, I used the last colour that I've used on the row. So this is the darkest of the blues that I've got. I'll just show you another square I've already done. Here's one I prepared earlier. And I don't know, I just thought that the dark and the dark look nice together. But of course, you know, it's your creation. Use whatever colour you want. You could use a totally different colour if you wanted to the ones that you've used in the middle. So I finished off over here, and I'm going to join my colour somewhere else, because when we join our colour we can crochet over the tail, so we don't want to be crocheting over two tails at the same time. So joining in any of the corner spaces, putting on yarn over your hook, pull through, just do a chain one to secure, so we can work over this tail as we go. What we're going to do is work a half double crochet. Actually, we're going to work 3 half double crochets into the chain one space on the corner. So yarning over, going into the chain one space, yarning over, pull up a loop and pull through all 3. So that's yarning over, going into the space, yarning over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. So we want 3 of those. And then in each stitch across we're going to work a half double crochet. Now this first one of the row is always hiding, I find, so just yank it over a little bit and see how there's a little stitch there. That's where we want to go into. If you're going to miss a stitch, that's the one that you're going to miss. Okay, so working across, I'm working over my tail. I'm just laying it across the top of the work there, working half double crochet, and we're going to do this all the way across, and I will just whiz across until we get to the other corner. So this is my join, and you want to make sure you don't miss a stitch or add too many. So we've got 3 stitches here, so there's 1, 2 and there's 3. So making sure that join's nice and tight, going into the top of that stitch. And then working those 3 stitches. I'm now working over the white tail. I think I need a new background colour because this white is on a white background, but then the blue wouldn't have shown up on the black background. I think I need to go shopping at my craft shop. Woo! So in a chain one space on the corner, we're working 3 half double crochets. Into each stitch across, and this is the one you're going to miss. See how it's, sometimes it hides, like sometimes you crochet and you actually crochet over that little bit there. That's actually a stitch. So go into there and work the half double crochet all the way around until we get back to the beginning of our round. Once we get to the end of the row, we need to join in the first half double crochet stitch. So putting it through both loops and then working a slip stitch. And we need to cut off our yarn because we're going to change back to white. So I'm going to join over here because I want to work over this tail when I come over that way. And the 3 half double crochets that we did in the previous round, we're going to work into the middle stitch. So there's, get that, like that. There's 1, 2, 3. We're working into the middle, so that's the second. Grabbing our yarn, putting it over the top of our hook, pulling through. Chain 1 to secure, pull down on the back. 3 half double crochets into that same stitch. In each stitch around, well, at least each stitch on the straight bit, we're going to work half double crochet. So I'm just going to keep the camera going so that you can see what to do on the next corner. And of course the yarn gets knot in it, doesn't it? Wouldn't do it if I was sitting there on the couch by myself. It knows I'm filming. Just make sure you do get in the stitch there. There we go. I apologise for that sound in the background if you can hear it. Hubby's getting creative and it's quite noisy. Okay, so working half double crochets, I can pick up the tail that where I finished off and work over that one. And when we get to the second stitch again of the 3 in the corner, which is this one here, we're going to work 3 half double crochets, because we're putting in our corner again, and we're going to continue around working our half double crochet until we get back to the beginning of the round. Once we get to the end, we're going to join with a slip stitch into the first half double crochet, like so. Then we're going to cut our yarn. I need new scissors. I have actually ordered new scissors, so those blunt ones will be going into the bin soon. So pulling out like so. It's looking good, isn't it? I love all these colours together. Now, we don't have to sew that in. If you're going to use the joining method I'm using, you don't have to sew that in. So I just hear you say woohoo, because I hate sewing in ends myself. We can actually crochet over that as we go.